The Alabama Department of Corrections has refused to speak with us and other media organizations about the deaths out of Donaldson Correctional Facility, and quite frankly, many of the concerns in prisons across the state. At Donaldson, the Jefferson County coroner tells me the homicide rate has tripled, and deadly drugs like fentanyl are getting through prison walls.
I'm lucky to survive. By the grace of God, I'm lucky to be out here alive.
At 21 years old, Ronald McKeithen was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
It was a robbery where no one was hurt or injured.
McKeithen served 37 years behind bars until he got a second chance at freedom.
The DA took my petition to the judge and said, hey, you need to sign this. And once I got out, I just started went to work.
Alabama Appleseed, the same organization that helped get him out, hired McKeithen to work with inmates and advocate for better conditions inside prisons like Donaldson.
They're telling me that because of the lack of officers, there have been many nights when there's only 5 officers running the whole prison.
In one word, how would you describe Donaldson Correctional Facility?
Chaotic. Just strictly chaotic. That is not safe for anyone there, officer or inmate.
McKeithen says the facility is even worse now than when he was there. Homicides inside Donaldson so far this year have already tripled. According to the Jefferson County coroner, 6 people were murdered in 2022.
Predominantly, we dealt with natural deaths out of William Donaldson, and we're seeing more traumatic deaths, some of which are due to homicide, then that can be an indicator, obviously, of more violence.
Jefferson County Coroner Bill Yates says this year more inmates are dying from both homicides and overdoses. So far in 2022, 12 inmates in the county died from a drug overdose. 7 of those were at Donaldson.
So what we're seeing in the prison is fentanyl, and we're seeing methamphetamine. So those same types of mixtures, those same products that's on the street is getting through the walls of the prison.
Amidst the rise in overdose deaths and homicides inside state prisons, the Alabama Department of Corrections hasn't released any information to the public. We asked the department to answer our questions and were denied an interview. So we questioned the commissioner directly at an execution press conference in September.
Commissioner, can you address the increase in violence and homicides at Donaldson Correctional Facility?
Not at this time, I won't.
Can we set up a time to do it another time?
Yeah, maybe so. Certainly.
When we followed up with the Alabama Department of Corrections, a spokesperson still denied us that interview despite the commissioner's comment. We then brought the same questions to Attorney General Steve Marshall.
We have a violent population. The people that are serving time in prison right now need to be in facilities that we can accommodate and deal with them in a safe way, but we also need to make sure that we're keeping staff safe. But it's a tough population to deal with.
We're also seeing a rise in opioid overdose deaths inside prisons, which begs the question of how are the drugs getting inside prison walls?
No, I mean, I think it's a great question. When we see contraband being brought in, it raises questions that we need to be able to address, and I'm assuming is on the commissioner's radar.
McKeithen says that's been happening for years, and it's fueling the violence.
Inside a prison where you got a lot of drug use, you got a lot of anger, it's going to get crazy.
How are the drugs getting in?
The inmates are not bringing it in. I mean, like, how can the inmates bring drugs in? It's got to be the officers. It's got to be the staff.
Freedom! Across the state, people are rallying for change, pointing the blame on Alabama Department of Corrections and state leaders.
We're tired of more people coming out in body bags than they are making parole.
I have stepped through more blood than I have stepped through grass during my time in prison.
Making their voices heard as the state remains silent.
What would you say to Governor Ivey, Commissioner John Hamm, Attorney General Steve Marshall about the prisons, the people who can change things?
I would tell them to find their heart. You got the power to stop all these deaths going in and out that gate.
In recent months, there's been a number of concerning images and videos from inside Alabama prisons circulating on social media sites like TikTok. They show inmates being beaten, severely sick, and poor conditions inside prisons. Due to legal issues, we're not able to show them to you, but you can see them yourself by searching Alabama prison inmate TikTok. Governor Kay Ivey's office has once again denied us an interview with her on this statewide issue. Reporting in studio, Chloe Vincenti, CBS 42 News. Local coverage you can count on.